Want to talk about the modes today, buddy? If you don't know what a mode is, gotta stay tuned for today's episode. What is up, guys? Welcome to Hero Bass, the place where we talk about bass gear, and music related topics. My name is Norv, and I hope you guys are doing awesomely well. Today's episode, like you saw in the preview, we're talking about modes. What are the modes? Essentially, the modes are different types of scales, essentially, or one scale played from different starting points, if you will. The way I like to see it is that those are 7 different ways of playing the same scale, if you will, or 7 different ways of starting a scale. Also, the other way I like to look at it is just a bunch of shapes that correspond to one key. There's multiple ways you can look at it. Whatever fits for you, whatever works for you, go with that. My reasoning behind all this, for instance, let's start with C major. Okay, that's the C major scale, right? But as well, we're playing how many notes? 7. And if you want to count 8 on the octave, we have 7 different ways of starting the major scale, essentially. But you're going to depart from one of the different notes. This is what I mean. First mode is essentially the major scale. Another thing I like to do is I like to relate them to a chord. So our first chord in the major scale, it's major with major 7. So my first scale is going to have those qualities. It's going to have a major 3rd, it's going to have a 5th, and it's going to have a major 7. And the rest of the notes, I just apply them too, right? Let me take that up a notch and go to our Dorian mode, which is our second mode. Our first mode was Ionian. Our second mode is Dorian. And this mode, I relate it to the minor chord of the major scale, that D minor. That's what I relate it to right here, look. Right? And for me, the way I think about it is that I take that minor chord, right? And I depart from that premise, so it has to have a minor 3rd. And it has a really distinctive sound because, again, this stuff you can play it over that minor chord. Or it comes out of that minor chord also. Well, so that's my minor chord. Here's the pattern that will relate to that chord. And basically, I'm playing a version of the C major key starting in D. Let's move to our third mode, which is our Phrygian mode. And in our Phrygian mode, what we're doing is essentially playing the same thing, but from the 3rd chord or from the 3rd note. Again, just trying to simplify this as much as possible. So here's my 3rd chord, right? It's a minor with a minor 7 chord, right? So I know that those 3 notes have to be in there. Or I just start playing from E, and my key doesn't have a sharp or my key doesn't have a flat. So it's just like playing C starting in E. So here we go. Next, we have our Lydian, which is our 4th mode, and in this our 4th mode, and in this mode we go from F to F. This one has a major quality to it, just as our 4th chord from our C major scale has. Next mode will be our Mixolydian mode, which is probably one of the most used modes, I would say, out there. Basically on all this Motown, all the groovy stuff, a lot of funk, a lot of jazz stuff, a lot of the bluesy stuff has that flat 7 in it, okay? So here we go. Again, this one has a dominant quality to it. That's how I like to recall it. So we're going to start from G to G, okay? Next, Aeolian mode. Our Aeolian mode is very interesting because it's the same as a minor scale. Essentially, our relative minor scale from C is the scale of A minor, right? C major and A minor are essentially, they share the same key. Okay, so we're going to depart from A to A using the key of C major. This one also has a minor quality to it. The qualities, I think about them as what the chord is doing according to the major scale or according to the first mode we're departing from, okay? But don't get that too confused. Just call them by the numbers if that's too confusing, or just learn the shapes and internalize them a little bit further, okay? So here we go with our next one. Okay, so our next mode is the Locrian mode. So mode number 7. With this mode, super important as well, that we have our flat 7, we have our minor third, but we also have a flat 5 in it. That's what gives us the diminished quality to it, okay? So here we go. Starting in B, this one will go from B to B. So those are the modes, those are the shapes that correspond to each mode. Again, you can take all these shapes and move them around the fretboard. Don't be afraid to experiment. Start in B, then play all the modes related to that B major scale. Do the same thing with F sharp, G flat, A flat, D, all the notes. Go through a circle of fifths and play them all. I hope that helped. This is how to play the modes. In a later episode, I'm going to show you guys what things we can do with them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Practice these modes up and down, from octave to octave, from every note possible and imaginable. These modes are gonna help you expand your fretboard knowledge. Thanks for checking this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Hit a like down below. If you have any questions, let us know on the comment section below. Check us out on all our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I will see you guys in the next one.